have always wanted to join in on the 2x4 challenges. Well, Chris over from A Glimpse Inside has partnered with Rockler to put on the timed 2x4 challenge. To participate in this challenge, you need to make 3 projects. One project with one 8-foot 2x4 that only takes you 30 minutes, one 2-hour project, and the third and final project that is also made out of one 2x4 that is a full 24 hours. I'm really excited to get started on these projects, so let's just get to it. So for this first project, I'm gonna go back to something that I know how to do well, and that's something that I sell on my Etsy. This is a remote control caddy. I normally make them using all 1x boards, so I'm going to split my 2x4 in half and get to chopping away. Now for the grand reveal. Bam, it's got a little red to it. It's kind of nice. After I've cut my pieces down to about 12 inches, I'll use my biscuit joiner to join them together because a lot of the parts and pieces to this are a little bit bigger than the average 2x4. I can normally whip this up really fast, but because it is the 30-minute challenge, I'm not only using wood glue, but I'm using CA glue when I clamp it up to give it an automatic tight hold. After I feel like the glue has dried enough, then I cut all of my parts and pieces to the exact size they need to be. Before I nail anything together, I use my laser to put my logo on it. You gotta add that personal touch to make it nice, and then I head to the workbench and staple it all together. Easy as that. This portion is the top of the remote control caddy. It's all made of a single rip of a 2x4. The only thing complicated about it is making sure that you center the 2 mid pieces. Other than that, it's pretty self-explanatory. After you put the top together, all that is left to do is to staple on the bottom, quickly sand it, and quickly stain it, and then you have your 30-minute remote control caddy. Don't go selling this on Etsy because I already do it and I own the market, alright? For the 2-hour project, I guess the cat is out of the bag. I am using reclaimed 8-foot 2x4s. I ripped these out of one of our remodels and I thought to myself, maybe that's the twist I put on this challenge. This is now officially the Rockler Reclaimed Timed 2x4 Challenge. Okay, so this is the 2-hour challenge, and in order to make sure that I hit that mark, I'm going to need to glue up this seat very quickly and then work on the legs that will go to the seat while it's gluing up. 2 hours is more than enough time for something to glue up and dry, so I think we'll hit the mark pretty easily. If you didn't catch what I'm doing, I am making a stool. This stool is going to have a 9-inch diameter and be short enough for my daughter to sit and take nice cute photos or work at her desk that I built her, stuff like that. As the glue dries on the top, I'm going to use the rest of the 2x4 to cut out some leg stock. Since I have a little bit more time, I'm not just going to cut regular old square legs. I'm going to clean these up with the table saw. I'm going to take each corner off with a 45-degree bevel. That way I'll have nice octagonal legs and have a nice clean look. Having a wide variety of tools is really useful for these projects, but when I started woodworking, I used a lot of 2x4s and I didn't have a whole lot of tools, so if you're ever discouraged, just know you can make a lot with very little. You just have to put a lot of effort into it. Speaking of putting in a lot of effort because you don't have certain tools, I'm using this 2x4 to guide my drill so that I can hit the same angle every single time for all 3 of these legs. It is not a perfect method, but it works for me because I don't have a specific way to drill these holes. This project really doesn't take up the entire time slot that was allotted for it, so I ran my legs across the table saw so that I could send wedges through the top, just so that I could get those bonus points for joinery aesthetic. No cheating here, those wedges are made from the original 2x4 that I started this project with. Check out this trick I found on Instagram when you want to flatten a stool so it's level to your surface. Lower your table saw blade all the way as low as it can go with just a curve showing above the surface. Gently run your legs over the blade until they are fully flat on the surface, and repeat until there is no wobble left. After I've cut the top of the legs off, sanded everything flush and beautiful, now it's time to douse this bad boy in stain. Alright guys, so here is my 2-hour project. It is a milking stool. That's what it's called on the internet. I'm just going to call it a stool because I'm not milking anything. I managed to stay right at the 2-hour mark, and if I had more than 2 hours, I would have added supports between the legs so that the weight limit would be a little bit higher. This is for my daughter, so I don't need the weight limit to be too huge. That just means that I can't get on it, which is fine. I am on the 3rd project, and I've racked my brain wondering what I'm going to do. What could I do with one 2x4 that would take me a lot of time? What could I do that was quality and that would show off my skills? So I sat and thought and thought and thought, and then I cut up my 2x4. Which some of you may be thinking is the worst idea I've ever had. Maybe it is. We'll find out. I'm not going for big, I'm going for quality. I've got 24 hours to make something that is of quality. So I used my laser to etch some animals on these blocks of 2x4s. And I'm going to try my best to hand carve these things in 24 hours or less. I'm going to actually cheat a little bit because I've got tools and I'm going to use those tools. I'm going to cut the rough shapes out with my scroll saw, and then I'm going to hand carve everything and make it all nice and pretty. Alright, so this is what I've got so far. Everything past this point right here will be hand done. I'm just doing this for time. Pig, turtle, rhino, lion, bear, and fox. Started thinking about it in the way that I've done the grain orientation. Anything with tiny little skinny legs, maybe even like a tail, is 100% going to break off. It's not great wood, but we're going to try. We're going to make these work with super glue and everything if we need to. So I am by no means the authority on hand carving anything, but I will give you a few tips that I think are really helpful, especially when carving just little animals or whatever. Number one, you got to define those legs. You don't know how big of a confidence boost it is when 4 legs pop out of a block of wood. You actually feel like an artist at this point. Maybe you're not, maybe you are, but you feel like you are, and that's what's important. Number two, define the body. Not all animals are going to be the width of the 2x4. Most likely the bear is going to be the only thing that's going to stay the same width. So go in, take some of that excess meat away, define the shoulders, define the belly, define all that stuff. After you've done the first 2 steps, step number 3 is to spend hours refining and refining and refining, and then you think you're done and you look at it again and you feel like you need to take a little bit more off, and then you do that again and again and again until you finally are unsatisfied because you feel like you're not finished, and that's just how it's going to be. The end. That is hand carving little animals in a nutshell. So after cutting all these out and realizing that my daughter was just going to smash them most likely, I decided to change my plans. I'm going to stack all 4 of these animals on top of each other, from biggest to smallest, and make them a nice bookend to clean up her bookcase. So my safeguard for them to not be broken is for them to not be touched. Is that good parenting? I don't know. Super glue is going to hold all of this stuff together. I built a nice little stand out of leftover 2x4s I had from the original 2x4 that is dedicated to this project. Laser engraved her name on it, and now I'm just going to put everything on there and hope for the best. This isn't exactly what I was going for in the beginning, but it turned out really good and I really like the design. If you're interested in participating in this challenge, I will have the rules in my description, or go to A Glimpse Inside's YouTube channel. He has a full video covering what you need to do. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.